I never imagined that two events, her birthday and a funeral, could collide in such a cruel way. While she was surrounded by balloons, candles, and laughter, I was standing in front of a coffin, holding back tears that burned like acid. It wasn't supposed to be like this. Not today. Not ever. She was always the favorite. The golden child. The princess of the family. While I was, well, invisible. You know the type. The one who always shows up, always helps, but somehow, never matters. And as fate would have it, today would be the day everything shattered. That morning started like a bad omen. My phone rang at 6 a.m. A shaky voice whispered words that made my knees give out. She's gone. I'm so sorry, she passed away last night. My hands trembled. My chest tightened. The world spun. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't believe. But as I rushed to the funeral home, my phone vibrated again. A family group message popped up. Don't forget. Emma's birthday lunch at noon. Everyone be there. My fingers froze. My heart sank. How could they? How could they pretend nothing happened? How could life go on like that? And there I was, staring at two paths. One covered in confetti and balloons. The other, lined with black dresses, wilted flowers, and a haunting silence. And that's when I realized this wasn't just a coincidence. This was the beginning of something that would change everything. Forever. Walking into the funeral home felt like stepping into another universe. A place where time stood still. Where every breath carried the weight of what was, and what would never be again. Her face, pale, cold, and peaceful. Too peaceful. Almost like she knew something I didn't. I reached out to touch her hand, expecting warmth. But it was like porcelain. Fragile. Frozen. And that's when the memories flooded in. Her voice. Her laughter. Her warnings. Her final words to me. One day, they'll see. One day, everything will change. I just never knew how soon. Suddenly, behind me, a door slammed. Loud footsteps. Whispered voices. And then, silence. I turned. There they were. My family. Dressed, not in black. Not even in gray. But in bright colors. Makeup done. Hair flawless. Smiles, forced. Eyes, hiding something. Something ugly. You're still here, my sister scoffed. Didn't you get the memo? We're heading to Emma's birthday after this. No need to be all dramatic. Her words hit like daggers. My fists clenched. My jaw tightened. How could they be so heartless? How could they pretend this didn't matter? But then, an old man walked in. Gray suit. Leather briefcase. Eyes heavy with secrets. He looked straight at me. Then at the others. Cleared his throat. There's been a development. Something about the will. Something you'll all want to hear. Right now. And just like that, the air shattered. The room fell into dead silence. My sister's fake smile vanished instantly. My mother blinked like she hadn't understood a single word. And my father, oh, my father. His face turned pale. His lips tightened. His fingers tapped nervously against his belt. Something was wrong. Deeply wrong. The old man opened his briefcase slowly, as if every movement was weighted with consequences. Your grandmother updated her will, recently, he announced. Adjusting his glasses. My heart skipped a beat. My grandmother? The one lying cold in that coffin? When? How? Why didn't anyone tell me? She requested that the contents be revealed immediately, upon her passing. Here. Today. His voice was firm. Unapologetic. My eyes darted toward my family. Panic. Absolute panic. My sister grabbed her husband's arm. My father muttered something under his breath. My mother's nails dug into her palms. "This isn't necessary," my father interrupted, voice cracking. "It can wait. We're grieving. This is wildly inappropriate." But the old man didn't flinch. Her instructions were explicit. "It happens now." His eyes scanned the room and then landed on me. For the first time, I felt seen. And then he pulled out the envelope. Thick. Sealed in red wax. My hands trembled. My chest pounded. Because deep down, something told me this wasn't just a will. This was a bomb. A secret grenade, about to detonate right in the middle of my already broken family. The sound of the wax seal breaking echoed louder than it should have. Almost symbolic. Like something irreversible had just begun. The lawyer unfolded the papers slowly. His hands were steady, but I noticed the smallest shake in his left thumb. Even he knew this was big. I, Eleanor Wright, being of sound mind. Leave the following, he started reading. Every word felt like a countdown. My sister was tapping her foot rapidly, biting her lips. My father's arms were crossed so tight it looked like he was holding himself together by force. The lawyer continued. To my granddaughter, Emma, I leave. Everyone leaned forward. Emma smirked, ready to hear about money, jewelry, property. My collection of vintage teacups. Silence. Pure, absolute silence. Emma's mouth dropped open. Her eyes twitched. A teacup collection. That's it. Nothing else. The lawyer flipped the page. To my son, Robert. My father's eyes lit up, gripping the edge of his chair. I leave, my condolences. The pen dropped from his hand. His face turned red, then pale. His lips parted, but no words came out. His jaw simply hung there. And then the final line. The one that made the air leave my lungs. And to my granddaughter. Sarah, my name. My name. My name. He looked directly at me. I leave everything. The house. The land. The savings. The investments. Every last cent. Because she was the only one who truly saw me. The room exploded. My sister shot up from her chair, knocking it over. What? This has to be a joke. Her face twisted, red with rage, hands trembling like she was about to throw something. My father stood frozen. His mouth opened, closed, opened again, but no sound came out. My mother gasped, placing a hand over her chest like she'd just been stabbed. No, this isn't real. This isn't happening. But it was. Every word was real. Every syllable burned like fire through the thick, tense air. And for the first time in my life, they were speechless. The lawyer calmly folded the papers. Her decision is final. It was signed, witnessed, notarized. There's no contest. Everything belongs to Sarah now. My ears rang. My hands felt numb. I could barely process it. All my life, I was the invisible one. The afterthought. The spare. Emma charged toward the lawyer, her finger pointing straight at his face. You're lying. You're making this up. Grandma would never do this. Never. Her voice cracked, eyes filled with fury, but beneath it, fear. Raw, primal fear. Because for the first time, she was powerless. My father clenched his fists. His knuckles turned white. His eyes darted between the lawyer and me. This won't stand, he growled. I'll find a way. I always find a way. His voice Wasn't just angry, it was desperate. Panicked. Because the empire he built wasn't his anymore. I could barely speak. My mouth opened, but my voice felt trapped in my throat. 100 emotions swirled: shock, disbelief, and something else. Something foreign. Something I had never felt before in this family. Power. For the first time. I wasn't the one being ignored. The lawyer cleared his throat. There's one more thing. The room froze again. My skin prickled. My heart raced. My family stared at him like statues, paralyzed. Your grandmother also left a letter. Specifically addressed to Sarah. It's private. For her eyes only. He reached into the briefcase and pulled out a smaller envelope. My name was written on it, in her handwriting. Elegant. Precise. I hadn't seen it in years. My fingers shook as I took it. It felt heavy. Heavier than any letter should. Like it carried more than words. What does it say? Emma snapped, stepping toward me. You don't get to hide things now. Not after this. My father grabbed her arm, stopping her. But his eyes, oh, his eyes were drilling holes into me. Watching. Waiting. Hoping to crack me open. I clutched the envelope against my chest. It's none of your business, I whispered. For the first time. I didn't ask for permission. I didn't explain. I didn't apologize. I simply turned and walked away. Out of that suffocating room. Out of their grip. Straight toward the truth. I stepped outside, gripping the letter. So tightly it wrinkled beneath my fingers. The air hit my face like a slap, cold, sharp, real. My legs trembled, but I refused to sit. Not yet. Not until I knew what she had to say. My grandmother's final words, meant for me alone. I sat on the edge of a cracked marble bench, right under the shadow of her name carved into stone. Slowly, I broke the seal. My hands trembled as I unfolded the paper. Her handwriting danced across the page, elegant, familiar, haunting. And then I began to read. My dearest Sarah, if you are holding this letter, it means I'm gone. And if the family is reacting the way I suspect, well, you're probably sitting alone right now, wondering why. Her words pierced straight into my chest. Tears welled up instantly, but I kept reading. I watched them. For years. I saw how they treated you. The way they ignored you. Belittled you. Used you. I stayed silent longer than I should have. And that is my greatest regret. My hands shook. My heartbeat echoed louder than the words themselves. But silence ends today. You are not invisible, Sarah. You never were. And it's time the world knows it. There are things you don't know, things about this family, about me, and about yourself. This inheritance, it's not just money. It's protection. For what's coming next. A chill ran down my spine. Protection? From what? My eyes scanned the page faster, desperate for answers. Her next words made my breath hitch. I kept secrets. Big ones. Dangerous ones. And now, they are yours to handle. But be careful. Not everyone is who they seem. I looked back toward the funeral home. Through the glass doors, I could see them. My family. Watching me. Whispering. Plotting. Their faces weren't grieving. They were calculating. And for the first time, I realized this wasn't over. It was just the beginning of a different war. There's a key inside the envelope, the letter continued. It opens the blue chest in my attic. Everything you need is there. The truth. The documents. The evidence. Use it wisely. You are stronger. Then you think, Sarah. Much stronger. And remember, they will come for you. My fingers fumbled through the envelope until I felt it. Cold. Metallic. A small, antique key. My pulse raced. My throat tightened. What had she been hiding all these years? And why was it suddenly my burden to carry? Then I heard footsteps. Slow. Heavy. Deliberate. Someone was walking toward me. I folded the letter quickly, shoved it in my pocket, and gripped the key. When I turned around, it wasn't just anyone. It was him. The one person I never expected to face today. It was my uncle. The black sheep of the family. The one no one ever talked about unless it was behind closed doors. Disgraced. Disowned. Exiled years ago after a scandal no one dared to explain to me. And now, here he was. Standing in front of me. Smiling. Well, looks like Eleanor. Finally did it, he said, hands in his pockets, voice low like a warning and a joke wrapped together. His eyes scanned me from head to toe, not in judgment, but like he was calculating something. I was wondering who she'd choose. I stood up fast, keeping the key hidden in my fist. Choose for what? I asked, trying to sound braver. Then I felt. His grin widened, but his eyes darkened. Oh, sweetheart, you really have no idea, do you? He took one step closer. I didn't move. Your grandmother wasn't just some sweet old lady with a teacup collection, he said, lowering his voice. She was the gatekeeper of this family's skeletons. And now, he tapped my chest gently, right over the letter. Now. You're the one holding the lock, and the key. My mouth dried. My stomach twisted. What are you talking about? He tilted his head, chuckling darkly. You'll see. Trust me, the house, the money, that's not the real inheritance. The real inheritance is surviving what comes next. He turned, walked away, and didn't look back. I stood there, frozen. His words echoed in my head like a curse. Surviving what comes next. My fingers squeezed the key tighter, as if letting it go would somehow make everything collapse. I had to go. Now. Before anyone else realized what I was holding. I slipped into my car, locking the doors instantly. My hands trembled as I shoved the key and letter into my bag. My eyes darted to the funeral home's door. They were still inside. Arguing. Yelling. Completely oblivious to what was unfolding right under their noses. Starting the engine felt like starting a war. Gravel crunched beneath the tires as I pulled away. Every second, I expected someone to burst out, screaming, chasing me down. But no one did. Not yet. My heart thumped so loud I could barely hear the radio. The drive to her house felt longer than usual. Every red light felt like a threat. Every car behind me felt like a tale. I kept checking the rearview mirror, waiting to see headlights speeding up, a familiar face, a sudden block in the road. But it never came. When I finally pulled into her driveway, my hands were ice. The house stood there, quiet, still, but different now. Not just a place where she lived. But a vault. A prison of secrets. And somewhere inside, waiting for me, was that blue chest. And everything it was hiding. I stepped out of the car, the gravel crunching under my feet sounding louder than it should. The house seemed to watch me, windows like eyes, the front door like a mouth sealed shut. My hand shook as I unlocked it. The air inside smelled like dust and secrets. Every corner whispered memories. Her perfume still lingered in the curtains. The ticking of the old grandfather clock echoed like a heartbeat. I walked slowly, carefully, like something might jump out at me. Every creak of the floorboards made me flinch. But I wasn't leaving. Not without answers. I made my way upstairs. The attic door loomed above me, half open. Strange. She always kept it locked. Always. My pulse spiked. Did someone get here first? Was someone still here? My fingers gripped the railing as I climbed. One step. Another. Breath held. At the top, the dusty wooden floor stretched out. And there it was. In the far corner. A blue chest. Exactly as she'd described in the letter. Faded paint. Brass edges. A silver lock, old and worn, but still sturdy. My hands trembled as I pulled out the key. I hesitated for a second. Something deep inside told me that once this chest opened, there was no going back. I swallowed hard, slid the key into the lock, and turned. A loud click. The lid creaked open. And what I saw inside made my blood run cold. Stacks of files. Envelopes labeled with names, familiar names. Photos. Documents. Tape recordings. But it wasn't the quantity that shook me, it was what was on them. Bank statements. Illegal transfers. Fraud. Blackmail. And worst of all, pictures. Proof. My family wasn't just cruel. They were criminals. One file had my father's name in bold letters. I opened it. My hands shook as I scanned the pages. Hidden assets. Offshore accounts. Fraudulent contracts. Deals that should have landed him in prison years ago. And yet, here he was. Untouched. Untouchable. Until now. Another envelope. My mother's name. My stomach twisted. I ripped it open, photos of her with a man I didn't recognize, then with two more. Dates. Transactions. Betrayals. My hands covered my mouth. She wasn't just the perfect housewife she pretended to be. Not even close. And then. Emma. My golden sister. I hesitated. Part of me didn't want to know. But curiosity won. Inside was a spiral of lies. Fake degrees. Stolen money. Schemes. She ran behind her husband's back. Everything she ever bragged about was built on sand. On theft. On deceit. But it wasn't just about them. At the bottom was another envelope. No name. Just two words, written in shaky handwriting, the truth. My fingers hovered over it. My breathing shallow. Something told me, this one wasn't just about them. This one was about me. My fingers trembled as I opened the envelope labeled the truth. Inside was a letter, longer, messier than the one she had written before. Ink smudged at the edges, like her hands had shaken while writing it. My throat tightened. I knew this wasn't just about secrets. This was personal. Sarah, before you read further, I need you to breathe. What I'm about to tell you changes everything you thought you knew. About them. About yourself. About where you really come from. My hands gripped the paper tighter. My pulse raced so loud I could barely think. You are not Robert's daughter. The words hit me like a fist to the chest. My vision blurred. I read it again. And again. Hoping, praying I had misunderstood. But no. It was there. In black ink. In her handwriting. You are not his daughter. Your mother had an affair. A long one. With a man named Michael Reynolds. A good man. A man she never intended to leave, but fear and greed, they made her choose. You were the result of that love. And they've hidden it from you, your entire life. Tears blurred the letters. My knees buckled. I sat on the dusty attic floor, letters shaking. In my hands. My life, my identity, shattered in a single paragraph. Everything I thought I was. Every lie they told. Every moment they made me feel like an outsider, suddenly made sense. I tried to breathe, but my chest refused to expand. My hands gripped my hair. My vision tunneled. Everything spun. They knew. They always knew. The way they treated me. The subtle comments. The cold distance. The favoritism. I wasn't one of them. Not by blood. Robert always resented you because you were a living reminder of her betrayal. Emma knew. She always knew. That's why she made it her mission. To break you, to remind you every day that you didn't belong. But you do belong, Sarah. You belong to something better. I scanned the rest of the letter, desperate for air. Michael Reynolds left something for you. Something he wanted you to have if anything ever happened to me. It's all documented. In the safe. Behind the bookshelf in my bedroom. The code is your birthday. I stumbled to my feet. My legs barely worked. My hands trembled as I shoved the letter into my pocket. I sprinted downstairs like the floor was on fire. Into her bedroom. My fingers yanked the heavy bookshelf aside. And there it was. A wall safe. Dusty. Old. Real. I punched in the code. Click. The door swung open. Inside, folders. A lockbox. A photograph. I grabbed it. My fingers brushed over the face of a man I had never met. But whose eyes looked exactly like mine. For the first time in my life. I saw myself. I sat on the edge of her bed, clutching the photo. His face stared back at me, strong jaw, warm eyes, the same small scar above the eyebrow, the same one I always wondered about when I looked in the mirror. Michael Reynolds. My real father. My real blood. Beside the photo was a thick folder labeled, "For Sarah, Legal Documents." I opened it. Inside, his will. His last words. His assets. His life insurance. Land deeds. Bank statements. I wasn't just his daughter by blood. I was his sole heir. My hands shook violently. A letter sat on top of it all. Written years ago. If you are reading this, it means Eleanor did what I couldn't. Protected you. Gave you the truth. I tried, Sarah. I tried so hard. But the family you grew up with made it impossible. My tears fell freely now. I loved you. I always loved you. But the threats, the lies, the games your mother and Robert played, forced me away. Forced me to stay silent. I never stopped watching from a distance. You are stronger than any of them will ever be. And now, it's your turn. My hands trembled as I pulled out a set of keys. Attached was a tag, Lakeview Cabin, property of Michael Reynolds. Another envelope. Another mystery. A property I never knew existed. My stomach flipped. Whatever was waiting there, it was part of the truth. Part of me. But before I could process any of it, loud banging shook the front door. My heart stopped. A voice shouted from outside, familiar. Aggressive. Sarah. Open this door right now. My blood froze. Emma. And she wasn't alone. More voices joined hers. Angry. Desperate. Terrified. I peeked out the window. My father was pacing on the lawn, fists clenched, phone to his ear. My mother stood beside him, arms crossed, face twisted in panic and rage. Emma pounded the door like she wanted to rip it off its hinges. We know what you found. My hand scrambled, grabbing everything, the letters, the photos, the documents. Stuffing them into my bag as fast as possible. My brain raced. Back door. The back door. I sprinted through the kitchen, heart slamming against my ribs. But then, the doorknob twisted. They were already there. I ducked, crawling toward the laundry room. Footsteps thundered into the house. Voices echoed. She's here. Find her. My chest tightened. Every breath felt like a scream trapped inside me. I slipped through the side door, barely squeezing between the wall and the fence. My backpack caught. I yanked it free just as Emma's voice screeched behind me. I see her. Stop her. My legs exploded into motion. Running. Running like my life depended on it. Because it did. Every secret I carried, every truth they tried to bury, was now a weapon. And I was the target. I sprinted down the street, lungs burning, legs trembling. I could hear them behind me, footsteps pounding. Voices screaming my name like a threat, not a call. My backpack bounced against my spine, heavy with secrets that could destroy everything they'd ever built. I couldn't let them catch me. My car was too far. No time. I cut through a neighbor's yard, jumped a fence, scraped my knee, but didn't stop. Couldn't stop. I darted through the alleyways, praying no one saw me. No one stopped me. My chest felt like it might explode. But adrenaline kept me moving. Finally, a streetlight flickered above an old bus stop. Empty. I ducked behind it, crouching low, panting, trembling. Footsteps thundered past. Voices echoed farther away. She went that way. Check the park. My fingers gripped the cold metal. Pull as I fought to keep quiet. When the street finally went silent, I peeked out. Clear. For now. I pulled out my phone, hands shaking. No service. Of course. This neighborhood was always a dead zone. I needed to move. Fast. But where? Where? Could I go where they wouldn't think to look? Then, it hit me. The cabin. The one from the Keys. Lakeview Cabin. A place I'd never been. A place they probably didn't even know existed. My real father's place. A sanctuary left behind for me. If I could get there, I might finally be safe. I pulled up the GPS. Lakeview Cabin, 2 hours away. Hidden deep in the hills. Secluded. Remote. Exactly what I needed. But first, I had to get to my car without being seen. I doubled back, keeping to the shadows, every muscle in my body buzzing with terror. Reaching the car felt like surviving a war. I dove into the driver's seat, slammed the doors locked, and fired up the engine. Tires screeched as I peeled away. From the curb. Headlights behind me. My heart shot up to my throat. Were they following? I checked. Once. Twice. No. Not yet. But I wasn't stupid. They would. Eventually. The highway stretched ahead, long and empty. My hands gripped the wheel. So tight my knuckles turned white. Just get there. Don't stop. Don't think. I whispered to myself like a mantra. Like a prayer. As the city lights faded, so did the noise in my head. It was just me, the road, and the truth. My mind raced. What else was in those documents? How deep did the lies go? Was there more? Was this just the beginning of a larger nightmare? The GPS announced, in 1 mile, turn left onto Lakeview Road. My stomach flipped. My pulse hammered. Trees closed in around me. No streetlights. No houses. Just darkness. And then, at the end of a gravel path, it appeared. A small wooden cabin. Quiet. Waiting. Mine. The cabin stood there like a ghost from a forgotten life. Weathered wood, chipped paint, curtains drawn tight. But somehow, it felt warm. Familiar. Like he had built it for me, even if he never knew I'd stand here one day. My fingers trembled as I unlocked the door. Inside, silence. Dust danced in the moonlight slicing through the window. A fireplace sat cold but ready. Shelves lined the walls, filled with books, maps, journals. A worn leather couch faced the window, and a table sat in the center, on it, an envelope addressed to me. I stepped closer, hands shaking. Sarah. Just my name. No explanation. No date. I tore it open. Inside was a handwritten note: "If you found this, then you've learned the truth. Good. Now, look behind the painting of the lake. Everything else waits for you there." My eyes darted to the wall. A painting hung slightly crooked, a serene lake under a violet sky. I yanked it down. Behind it, a safe. Smaller than the one in Grandma's house. No keypad. Just a keyhole. My heart raced. The key from the attic. It had to fit. I shoved the key in. Click. The door swung open. Inside, folders. Labeled. Sorted. Precise. Robert, illegal deals. Emma, fraud and blackmail. Family secrets, confidential. My hands trembled. These weren't just secrets, these were weapons. And now, they were mine. All of them. But there was something else. A USB drive. No label. No markings. Just waiting. I grabbed my laptop, powered it on, and slid the drive in. My heart thundered as the screen loaded. Folder after folder appeared. Videos. Audio recordings. Emails. Documents. Years of evidence. I clicked the first video. A grainy recording loaded: my father. Sitting in his office. Laughing. No judge would ever believe her. Not without this. Disappearing first. He held up a document, then tossed it into a shredder. My stomach flipped. Proof. Real proof. Of everything. Another video. Emma. Whispering into her phone. Just transfer it. No, he won't notice. He's too stupid. And even if he does, I'll blame Sarah. Works every time. My jaw clenched. My hands balled into fists. Every accusation. Every gaslight. Every betrayal, laid bare. I opened a folder labeled Emergency. Inside, a detailed step-by-step plan. Contacts. Lawyers. Journalists. Even law enforcement agents, honest ones. My real father had prepared for this. For the day when the truth would come to light. For the day when I would have to burn it all down. As I stared at the screen, realization hit me like lightning. This wasn't just survival anymore. This was a fight. A war. And for the first time, I wasn't the victim. I was the storm. And they had no idea what was coming for them. I closed the laptop slowly, staring into the dark cabin. For the first time in my life, the fear wasn't paralyzing. It was fuel. Every insult. Every humiliation. Every time they made me feel like I didn't belong, was about to become the reason they'd lose everything. I grabbed my phone. Signal. Weak, but there. I scrolled through the contacts left in the emergency folder. Names of lawyers. Investigators. Journalists. People who didn't play by my family's rules. People who weren't scared of the powerful. My fingers hovered over one name. Eleanor's contact, trustworthy. I hit call. It rang twice. Then a voice answered, calm, professional, but with an edge. You've reached Samuel Harris. If you're calling this number, it means the game has begun. My throat tightened. This is Sarah. Sarah Wright. Silence. Then. I've been waiting for this call. I found everything. The files. The videos. The documents. Everything my father, my mother, my sister, tried to hide. I don't know what to do next. My voice shook, but not with fear, with something sharper. Determination. Samuel responded without hesitation. Meet me. Tomorrow. Noon. Safe location. He texted an address before I could even respond. Then hung up. My hands shook as I read it. It was real. This was happening. And tomorrow, everything would start. I locked the cabin tight, loaded every file, every drive, every document into my backpack. This wasn't over. Not even close. Morning came faster than I expected. I barely slept. My mind ran circles between memories and rage. Between fear and power. As the sun peeked over the trees, I loaded my things into the car. Checked the files. Checked the USB. Checked the evidence. Again. And again. The drive into town was a blur. Every streetlight felt like a checkpoint. Every passing car made me wonder, are they following me? Did they find me? But no. Not yet. Not today. I pulled up to the address Samuel had sent. An old coffee shop. Quiet. Empty. Perfect. Inside, a man sat in the back booth. Late 40s. Sharp suit. Kind eyes, but with the kind of face that had seen too much. He stood when he saw me. Sarah. He offered a firm handshake. I knew your grandmother. Anne. I've been waiting for you for years. I slid into the booth, dropping the backpack onto the table. It's all here. Everything. I don't even know where to start. Samuel opened the bag, scanning the folders like a surgeon before an operation. His eyes widened. My God. I knew it was bad. But this? This is nuclear. He leaned in, lowering his voice. Listen carefully. Once we drop this, your family's done. Legally. Financially. Socially. This will ruin them. Completely. I swallowed hard. Good. For the first time, the word tasted sweet. No guilt. No fear. Just justice. And it was long overdue. Samuel pulled out his tablet, scanning documents as fast as his fingers could swipe. These accounts, offshore. This fraud, years of tax evasion. This, he paused, eyes narrowing. This one's criminal. Wire fraud. Money laundering. And this, oh, this is prison time. He grinned. For all of them. I watched, numb but electric. Can we really do this? I asked. Samuel's eyes locked onto mine. Not only can we have to. This isn't just about revenge, Sarah. This is about justice. This family's been untouchable for decades. But not anymore. Not with this. He pulled out a list. I've already contacted federal investigators. Anonymous tip lines. Journalists hungry for a story. But you decide how this goes down. Quiet. Legal. Or public. Explosive. Worldwide. My hands trembled. The choice was mine. For once, it was truly mine. I stared out the window, thinking about every scar they left on me. Every time they made me feel small. Unwanted. Unworthy. My voice came out stronger than I expected. Both. I want them destroyed legally and humiliated publicly. No mercy. No forgiveness. Burn it all down. Samuel leaned back, a slow smile spreading across his face. I hoped you'd say that. He tapped a button on his tablet. Then let's begin. Within seconds, encrypted files started uploading. Emails firing off to government agencies, journalists, prosecutors. And with each send, their empire crumbled a little more. My phone buzzed. A notification. Then another. And another. News outlets. Social media. Leaks spreading like wildfire. Breaking, local family involved in massive fraud scandal. Anonymous sources reveal years of corruption and crime. My hands gripped the table. My chest rose. For the first time. I felt free. Samuel looked up. We're not done. Yet. He opened another folder. These documents tie directly to pending criminal cases. And look at this, bribes. To judges. To politicians. We leak this, and the system that protected them? Gone. Overnight. I stared at the screen. Pulse pounding. Then, my phone rang. Unknown number. I froze. Samuel nodded. Answer. Put it on speaker. I swallowed hard and tapped. Hello? Silence. Then. Sarah, my father's voice. Low. Ragged. Desperate. We need to talk. Don't do this. You don't understand what you're doing. My hands shook. My mouth went dry. Oh, I understand perfectly. I said. He paused. Breathing heavy. We can fix this. Whatever you found, we'll sort it out. You don't have to do this. You don't want to hurt your own family. My laugh was bitter. Sharp. You're not my family. You've made your choice, Sarah. His voice dropped into something colder. Something dangerous. And now, you'll live with the consequences. The line went dead. My fingers trembled. Samuel reached over, locking eyes with me. Then so will they. He hit send all. And the war officially began. The news exploded faster than I could process. Every headline. Every channel. Every phone screen. My family's faces plastered everywhere, smiling in old family portraits. Now paired with words like fraud, money laundering, corruption, arrest warrants pending. Their empire, collapsing in real time. Samuel's phone buzzed non-stop. FBI confirmed. They're moving in. Raids start tonight. My stomach flipped. Are you serious? He grinned. Oh, I'm very serious. Your father, your mother. Your sister, they're done. And the best part? You won't have to lift a finger. The truth is doing all the work. Social media was a wildfire. Videos of agents storming properties. News helicopters circling their mansion. Comment sections were flooded with shock, anger, and satisfaction. Rich people thinking they're above the law. Not anymore. How did this stay hidden for so long? Who leaked this? They deserve a medal. Then, my phone buzzed again. A text. Unknown number. Just one sentence. You think this is over? My stomach dropped. I showed it to Samuel. He frowned. It's starting. They're cornered. Desperate. That's when they're the most dangerous. His voice lowered. Stay sharp. Stay safe. I nodded, gripping my phone like a weapon. But deep inside, I wasn't afraid. Not anymore. The girl who used to stay silent, who used to let them walk all over her, didn't exist anymore. She died the day I opened that envelope. What stood now was someone else. The hours ticked by like thunder. News anchors breathlessly reported every update. Robert Wright has been taken into custody. Emma Wright evaded arrest but is currently wanted by federal authorities. My phone buzzed with messages from people I hadn't heard from in years. Friends. Old classmates. Neighbors. Sarah. Is it true? Did you do this? I always knew there was something off about them. I didn't answer. Not yet. Not until it was finished. Samuel paced the room, phone to his ear, speaking in codes and half sentences. Yes. Confirmed. Lock the assets. Freeze everything. Then, tires screeched outside. My heart jumped. Samuel yanked the blinds open. A black SUV idled at the edge of the driveway. Tinted windows. No plates. His jaw tightened. Stay inside. Do not move. He grabbed something from his bag, an envelope. Thick. Marked in case of emergency. If anything happens, you take this. Run. Straight to the FBI field office. Do not stop. Do not trust anyone else. Understand? His eyes burned into mine. I nodded, throat tight. What's in it? His answer was cold. Sharp. The kill switch. The one thing that finishes this. We both stared as the SUV door cracked open. A figure stepped out. Tall. Male. Wearing all black. My breath caught. He wasn't just anyone. He wasn't press. He wasn't law enforcement. No, this was someone else entirely. Someone sent as a final, desperate move. The man stepped closer. Calm. Controlled. Hands in his pockets like this. Was just another day. But every instinct in my body screamed otherwise. Samuel's eyes narrowed. Stay low. Do not open that door. No matter what happens. He pulled his phone out, typing fast. A knock. Not frantic. Not aggressive. Deliberate. Measured. Miss Wright. I just want to talk. His voice was smooth. Too smooth. Open the door. This doesn't have to get complicated. Samuel mouthed silently, don't move. He reached into his bag, his hand wrapped around something. Heavy. Metallic. Another knock. Louder. Sarah, listen. They've escalated. But this can all go away. We can make a deal. Walk away from this. Just open the door. My hands trembled. Not with fear. With rage. They still thought I was the same girl who used to shrink and obey. Samuel leaned toward me, whispering, they're testing. Bluffing. They don't know how much you have. But when they realize, it's over. His phone buzzed. He glanced. Backup's coming. 5 minutes. We hold. The man outside shifted. His calm started to crack. Foot tapping. Shoulders tightening. Last chance, Sarah. His voice dropped into something darker. You open this door, or what happens next, is on you. Samuel stood, stepping into view of the window. Calm. Confident. He raised his phone, showing a flashing red dot. Smile. You're being live-streamed. To every agency watching. The man's face drained of color. His jaw twitched. Hands tightened into fists. He glanced toward the SUV, then back at the window. A pause. Calculating. Then, without a word, he turned, stormed back to the vehicle. Tires screamed as the SUV peeled out, disappearing down the road. Samuel collapsed into the chair, exhaling hard. They blinked. Good. That's a win. My knees nearly gave out. My chest heaved like I'd been running for hours. Who? Who was that? Samuel shook his head. A fixer. Damage control. Probably hired by your father. Meant to scare. Or worse. I swallowed the lump in my throat. Are we safe? Samuel's eyes hardened. For now. But this confirms it. We hit a nerve. And they are unraveling. Fast. He grabbed the emergency envelope, sliding it back into his bag. They know it's over. But they don't want to accept it. Suddenly, his phone buzzed again. He checked it, then looked at me with a sharp grin. It's done. Warrants served. Assets frozen. Every account. Every property. The government owns it all now. They've lost everything. My breath hitched. A tidal wave of relief. Of disbelief. Of victory. Samuel leaned forward, lowering his voice. But one last thing, Sarah, there's something in the files. Something we haven't talked about yet. Something about you. About why your grandmother did this. About why you were always the real heir. The rightful one. You ready to know? I froze. My throat tightened. What do you mean? Samuel pulled out a folder I hadn't seen before. Thicker. Older. Yellowed with age. This wasn't just about revenge. Your grandmother didn't just want to punish them. She wanted to restore something that was stolen. He opened the folder. Inside, legal documents. Land deeds. Ownership papers. My eyes widened. This isn't just the family house. This is, Samuel nodded. It's the entire Wright estate. The original company. The land. The foundation that started everything. It was never theirs. Decades ago, your grandmother's father left it all to her. But when she married Robert's father, he manipulated her. Forged documents. Stole it. Everything your family built was built on theft. On lies. You're the legal heir. The sole heir. It always belonged to you. My breath left my body. My head spun. Every scar. Every wound. Every moment of being treated like I didn't belong, all while standing on ground that was mine. That was always mine. They knew. They all knew. And that's why they tried so hard to destroy me. Tears burned my eyes. Not sadness. Not fear. Something else. Something stronger. Then it's over. Samuel shook his head, smiling. No, Sarah. It's not over. It's just beginning. Because now, you decide what happens next. You decide whether you rebuild, or watch it all burn. I stood. Walked to the window. Watched the morning sun rise over a world that, for the first time, was mine. Completely mine. No shadows. No lies. No chains. Just possibility. Power. Freedom. And a legacy that no longer belonged to them. Only to me. My phone buzzed again. More headlines. Robert Wright sentenced without bail. Emma Wright apprehended at airport trying to flee country. Massive financial empire exposed as decades-long fraud. The world now knew who they truly were. And who I truly was. I turned to Samuel. What would you do? Tear it down? Or build something new? He smiled. Doesn't matter what I'd do. This is your story now. Your future. Your legacy. I smiled back. For the first time, a real smile. A powerful one. One they could never erase. I grabbed the folder. Looked down at the documents. My birthright. My proof. My power. Then let's start. Samuel chuckled. Start what? My answer was simple. Cold. Clear. A new chapter. Where I stop surviving and start ruling. As I stepped out of the cabin, the sun kissed my face. The past was behind me. And ahead was everything they swore I could never have. Everything they tried to steal. This wasn't just revenge. This was rebirth. And trust me, the story was far from over.